My husband and I were on a date when his mother stormed into the restaurant and shouted, "Why didn't you invite me? I'm 34, married to Eli for 6 years. His mom, Helen, has been a nightmare from day one, criticizing everything I do, showing up unannounced, treating me like I don't exist. She'd make little comments like, 'Oh, you don't wear makeup. That's brave.' Or, 'That's the dress you're wearing, huh?' She even had a spare key to our house and would let herself in on Sunday mornings while I was still in my bathrobe. Once she walked in and said, 'I used to wear things like that before I got married too.' Every time I asked Eli to set boundaries, he'd say, 'She means well,' or 'She's just old-fashioned.' He wouldn't make any major decisions without calling her first. We couldn't even buy a couch without her opinion. If we planned a trip, he'd check with her to make sure the dates didn't conflict with her schedule. She criticized everything: how I folded towels, how I made eggs, even my cooking. And Eli would just sit there smiling, letting me take it every single time. Last month, Eli surprised me with dinner at Lucas, our anniversary spot. Said he wanted to reconnect after things had been rough between us. I actually felt hopeful. Maybe he finally saw how his mom was destroying our marriage. I got dressed up, did my makeup, wore that black wrap dress he used to compliment, even curled my hair. The restaurant was perfect, dimly lit, romantic, full of couples talking quietly. We ordered drinks, laughed about his coworker's Zoom mishap. The waiter brought fresh bread and butter. For the first time in months, it felt like we might actually turn a corner. Then I heard that sharp voice behind me. "Why didn't you invite me?" Every head in the restaurant turned. There was Helen in her leopard print blouse, heavy makeup, oversized purse, glaring at us like we'd committed a crime. "Mom!" Eli froze mid-sentence. She marched over like she owned the place. "You told me you were staying in tonight. You didn't say you were coming here. I told you I wanted to try this place." Then she turned to me with that cold stare. "You didn't think I'd want to be included. It's very selfish of you." And then Eli did the unthinkable. He looked at her, then at me, and pulled out the empty chair. "Just sit, Mom. It's fine." I stared at him, hoping he was joking, but he wasn't. He actually waved at the waiter and asked for another place setting. That was it. 6 years of being made small, of being pushed aside, of smiling and getting over it every single time. I stood up calmly and said in a voice I didn't recognize as mine, "You two enjoy, because I'm done with this marriage." The entire restaurant went silent, not just a few people looking up. Everyone stopped talking. Even the clinking of silverware stopped. I walked out without turning around, took an Uber to my friend Felicity's house. Didn't go home that night or the next. When I finally returned, Eli was waiting like I was the unreasonable one. "You embarrassed me," he said. "You chose her," I replied. He tried backtracking, said he didn't want to make a scene, that she would have caused more trouble if he told her to leave, that he didn't know what else to do. "You could have stood up like a husband," I said. "Like a man, like someone who gives a damn about his wife." He had nothing to say to that. That's when I started going silent. No more conversations, no more pretending everything was fine. I stopped sleeping in our bed, stopped making meals. He barely noticed. Or maybe he did, and just didn't care. I stopped engaging completely. No fights, no tears, no begging for change. I just went quiet and started making mental notes of everything I needed to handle. 3 days later, I came home to find a note on the kitchen counter. Helen moved in to help us work through this rough patch. She's in the guest room. I walked into what used to be my guest room. Helen's clothes were already in the closet, her toiletries spread across the dresser. She'd hung up family photos on the walls, all of them featuring Eli and her, not a single one with me in it. On the nightstand was a framed picture of Eli as a child sitting on her lap. Next to it, a coffee mug that said, "World's Best Mom." That's when I realized this wasn't about one ruined dinner. This was a calculated takeover that had been planned for months, maybe years. I packed my bags and left for good that night. Found out later from our neighbor that Helen had been telling people in the building that I was going through a phase and she was there to help her son through his wife's breakdown. Some mothers-in-law don't just want to be involved, they want to replace you entirely.